Hey peeps, today you should have geometric sequence day 3 on your desk. If you have not already, please pause the video. You will absolutely need a calculator. The one on your phone will not work, okay? So make sure that you're not using the one on your phone. It will not work, okay? So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are review. Okay, so the first 8 are review. So state if each sequence is geometric. So in order to be geometric, you need to be timesing by the same thing every single time. Okay, so I always do the method of this from negative 16 divided by negative 8 is going to be 2. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. And negative 4 divided by negative 2 is 2. So yes, this is geometric. Okay, now we're going to talk about this because you're going to need to know this is called a common ratio. Okay, that's a fancy word for saying you multiply by 2 every time. Okay, so the common ratio is 2. Okay, for number 3, again, we're going from the right to the left. So negative 2 divided by negative 6 is 1/3 or 0.3. Negative 6 divided by negative 14, okay, is 0.42. So those are not the same, so this is going to be a no. It's not geometric. Okay, the next section, we did this the other day, okay, so determine if it's geometric, which is what we were doing up here, and then if it is, find the next 3 terms. Okay, so I got negative 192 divided by negative 48. Which is 4. Okay, negative 48 divided by negative 12 is also 4. And then negative 12 divided by negative 3 is also 4. So yes, this is geometric. So we are able to find the next 3 terms. Okay, and so you're going to take the last term that's on your list, so negative 192, and times it by 4. And that gives you negative 768. You're going to take this term now and times it by 4. So negative 768 times 4. That's going to be negative 3072. And now you're going to take this 3072 and times it by 4. And that gives you negative 12288. Okay. Okay, so same thing for here. Negative 12 divided by negative 24. I'm going to change my color just because I wrote too big. Is going to be 2. Negative 12 divided by negative 6 is 2. And negative 6 divided by negative 3 is 2. So yes, this is geometric. And so now we're going to take the last number and start timesing it by 2. So negative 24 times 2 is going to be negative 48. And you're going to say times 2, negative 96. And you're going to take negative 96 and say times 2, and you get negative 192. Okay, so 1 through 8 is all review. Okay, now the next section on here you will need a formula for, and this is the formula. It goes A, and there's, I don't want to say a lot of vocab, but you're going to hear me say weird words. A sub 1, okay, R to the n minus 1. Okay. Now, the a sub 1, okay, this is our first term. The r is our common ratio. And then lastly, the n is the term named, the one that you need to find. Okay, so take a second and pause the video if you need to. Copy this formula down. There is no way that you can do these without the formula, and there is no way you can do these without one of my calculators, okay? Not your phone calculator, because the phone calculator cannot do the exponential. Okay, so on this, our very first step is going to be to find the common ratio. Okay, so in order to find the common ratio, because they're telling you find the name terms, you already know it's geometric. So you just need to do one of these. Okay, so negative 32 divided by negative 16 is going to be 2. Okay, so my common ratio is 2. Okay, and I'm going to write all these out on this very first one. So my A1 is my first term. This is the A1. Okay, so my A1 is negative 4. My R, my common ratio, is 2. That's what I get multiplied by every time. Times 2, times 2, times 2. Okay, and my N is here. They want you to find number 11. Okay, they want you to find number 11. And what that's saying is this is term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is the number that we're finding, the 11th term. And sometimes if they tell you to find the 50th term, it would be too much to say times 2, times 2, times 2, times 2, 50 times. And so there's this fancy formula, and you can find any term. I could put it as number 1,000, and we just type it in, and then the calculator does the rest. Okay, so we're gonna set our problem up. So I got a to the a sub 1, which is negative 4. So it's gonna look like negative 4, okay? My R is gonna be 2, and my N is gonna be 11, and then the minus 1 goes there. Okay, and so this is what it should look like on your calculator, okay? And I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I'm gonna say negative 4 times 2. Now, I'm looking for this button right here that has X with a blank power, and I'm gonna push that. And in that little square box is where I'm gonna put this 11 minus 1. So 11 minus 1. Okay, and again, take a second and pause the video and make sure that yours looks like this. Okay? And you're gonna hit equals, and it spits out your answer. So a to the 11, or the 11th term in this sequence, okay, which is what they told us to find, is negative 4096. Okay, and I'm going to write this formula on the back just so we can see it. R to the n minus 1. Okay, so my a sub 1, okay, my a sub 1 is the first piece, so that's going to be 1. So it's going to look like 1 times. Now I need to figure out what is my common ratio. Okay, what is my common ratio? Well, 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that's going to be my common ratio. So it's going to be 2 to the... Well, what's my n? What number are we finding? Well, they told us to find 9. So it's going to be 9 minus 1. Okay. So we're going to type that on our calculator. You're going to say 1 times 2. Again, you're looking for this X button. And you're going to say 9 minus 1. And that's 256. Okay. So this is 256. And really the fancy answer should look like this. A sub 9 equals 256. Okay, that's the fancy answer. But we'll get there. Today, this is what I'm shooting for. Okay? But technically, this is what it should look like. So whereas like number 13, it's going to look like A sub 11, which I'm going to do it. Okay, so number 13, my A sub 1 is my first term. So that's going to be a 3. 3 times, now I need to find my common ratio. Okay, so I'm going to say negative 24 divided by negative 12, divided by 12 is going to be negative 2. So my common ratio is going to be negative 2. N is 11 minus 1. Okay, and that's going to be negative 3072. Okay, so it's going to look like A sub 11 is 3072. Okay, now, here's what I can tell you. If you have a negative for your common ratio, it needs to go in parentheses. Okay, so that's a tricky one, but either way, you would still get 3072. Some of you guys might put a negative on there because I know some of you guys are like, why does she not have a negative? Okay, and that's why. And again, this is the fancy answer. A sub 11 equals 3072. However, if you just write the 3072 today, I'm calling it good enough. Okay, 15 My A sub 1, and that's my first term, is 2 times, now I need to find my common ratio. So negative 54 divided by 18 is going to be negative 3. Okay, because my common ratio is negative, I want to make sure that I put that in parentheses. Okay, and my n, my term I'm finding, is 9, and we're going to say minus 1. Okay, so the minus 1 is always going to be there, just an FYI. Okay, so, and when you type that in your calculator, you should get 13122. Okay, 17. My A sub 1, my first term, is negative 1 times, okay, now I find my common ratio. 8 times negative 4, it's going to be negative 2. Because that's a negative, I need to put that in parentheses. And the term I'm finding is 12 minus 1. Okay, and again, the fancy way is to say A sub 12 equals, and when you type all that in your calculator, you're going to get 2048. Okay, but again, if you just write the 2048, I'm good with that. Okay, last one. Okay, my A sub 1, my first piece is negative 4. Negative 4 times my common ratio, 108 divided by negative 36. 108 divided by negative 36 is going to be negative 3. So again, because that common ratio, I need to put that in parentheses. Okay, and then it's going to be 10 minus 1. Okay, and so when I type that in the calculator, it's going to look like, I'm writing it the fancy way, A sub 10 equals 78732. Okay, you guys have 10 left to do on your own. Go through and get your 10 done, and then make sure you put your name on it and put it in the box, and I will see you guys tomorrow.